first, and then we will continue with the forum.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tony Huff. I've lived in Elkhorn a couple years, 2 years now, with my partner, Brenda Nelson. We have the Danish girl, Johanna, that lives with us. Some of you may know Johanna, I've met her. The interesting fact about Johanna is her mother actually graduated from Elkhorn schools in 1991, so second generation, which is kind of neat. I'm actually, I'm on the school board now. I came in, a gentleman had gone off the board, so I came in to take his spot. We had a little bit of a vote, and I got in just barely. And so here we go. And my goal, I guess, is to finish the rest of there's a 2-year term left. Brenda's mother is actually in Jenny Ed, and I've got to get down to the hospital. We pulled her off life support yesterday, and she's still going, she's still fighting, but about any time now. So I'm gonna buzz down and sit with her overnight tonight. So, but thank you. I don't know if I'm setting the stage for this or not. I'm betting on the old guy on the board and on this table, but that's okay. I graduated from Harlan in 1979. I served on the Harlan School Board for 7 years. I was president for a couple. I think school board's great. I think this is a wonderful community. You guys are very fortunate. As a bit of an outsider looking in, I love, and I call Elkhorn Creamoville, just for the reasons I do, I guess. Got to spend some time over in Exira, a couple football games, got to know the community over there as well, and I think you guys have got some good folks. Great questions. School's serious business, always has been, always will be. You want to make sure your children and the community are all part of this magic, all your school district, and with the superintendent, with the teachers, with everyone involved, it all comes together. Some pretty good questions. I'm just going to grab a couple of questions and go through them, and then I'm going to pass the mic on. And I apologize for having to leave early, but I'm sure you understand. First question, as far as I was concerned, I just picked a couple I thought were important. It had something to do with, how do you retain and get the best candidates for school. I don't know all the folks on this table, but I know we've got great people over here. And I think defining roles and expectations of what a school board member, being a school board member is about. I think that's the key. I mean, I think there's leadership qualities, and I got a feeling that's what all of us are here to do, to help set some guidelines and show that we care about the school and we want good leadership, at every level from administration to teachers. As far as the pool, I mean, this is great. I mean, to see this many people wanting to be on the board, I mean, that's already answered the question. How do you get more people in the pool? How do you get more candidates? Again, I think there's a love and a respect for what you've got. You want to build on it and continue to have it grow. Another real quick question: two or three strengths which our district can be proud of. I'm just going to say 2 or 3 names that have come out of this school district. Everyone knows Jan Jensen, the Iowa Hawkeye basketball coach. Brendan knows Jan pretty well. I mean, that's a great example of someone that's graduated from here and led and continues to lead. Another one is a gal by the name of Cami Christensen. And Cami, again, graduate here, a good friend of Jan's actually, and the general manager of the Westward HOAD at Las Vegas, which is a big hotel. Sits right beside the convention center, and just was voted just this last week general manager, president, CEO of all casinos in Las Vegas. Again, this is 2 small town gals from Elkhorn, Littleton, Exira, that are leaders. they came out of the school. You guys should be proud. Student questions, just to finish up. Students are important, and what they have to say, what they feel, things that are going through. I went through conferences today and just kind of talked to Johanna's teachers and told them what was going on. Of course, Mondays is off day for the school, and she was with us yesterday with Shirley, and just said something to them about what was going on, so they can help keep an eye on her this week, communicate with her, so that they know what's going on. I think that's huge. A couple of questions, just one, how do we ensure that students have access to reliable technology and up-to-date equipment? I spent a few years on school boards, and Iowa Association of School Boards is a great example, is great leadership for the school board and the district. And making sure that advocating for district policies, making sure there's funding, technology is always changing, doing some support initiatives. I think we just voted on something as far as, cell phone use in the school, or not cell phone use in the school according to Iowa guidelines. A lot of different things, a lot of different ways to ascertain technology and use it, but use it effectively and use it in the right ways, I think is the key. And as long as everyone is communicating that, which again, I think the district, because of its size, because of the people that are in the district, the teachers, they ensure that all the kids are using technology correctly. So, but other than that, it was nice to get here. I wanted to make sure I got here. I wanted to make sure I had some time. I'm going to pass on the mic and head down the road. But it was nice being able to talk to everyone. I would love to listen to my fellow board potential members. But again, I still got another month or so on the board, and hopefully we'll get to meet a few. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Huff. Moving on to our other candidates. I don't know if it was said, but we're gonna ask the question and then you'll explain your answer, and then you'll just hand the mic down the line. So, our first question is, how can we continue to attract and retain the best candidates for our school? Oh, yeah, do that.
My name is Eric Kadishny. I am from Exira. I've come to you as a candidate for the school board. I am on the Exira Fire Department. I've been a volunteer member for 20 years. I am currently the secretary for the past 3 years. I am also on the Exira Library Board, which I have been for the past 4 or 5 years. So that's kind of my chops on what I've done as far as things that are related to what we are here for today. Like I said, I live in Exira. I have a family of 5. I have a wife, Jennifer, who works as a para for the school in Exira. I have my daughter, Paige, right over here. And I have Chloe, who's in 9th grade, is a freshman, and my son, Riker, is in 6th grade. So what we have for the question is, what are Number one, how can we attract and retain best candidates for our school? This year we did 4-day school week. From what I did on the board, I went to the meeting last week, I believe it was, and they had talk on it, on how far it's been going, how well it's been going. And I believe that is a great step in that direction. That remains to be seen, but I feel that that's a start. Being new to the board, I really don't know direct ways to say how we can really attract and retain other than that. As far as benefits and salary and leadership, and have the right culture, which I believe we have right now. So I think if everybody else that want to come into that school could experience that, then I think they would find that this is a great place to work and want to have their kids be here.
Hello, my name is Callie Christensen. I live in Brayton. I am the mayor of Brayton. I have been for several years. We have 4 children, my husband and I. We have an auction company that we do business locally. We have a building in Exira, one in Brayton, and we do sales from people's houses routinely. We're pretty active in the community. We have 4 children. I have Piper, who is a junior, and then we have twins that are in 7th grade. Then I have Johnsy, who's still in elementary. So, the first question, how can we attract and retain? I believe that the 4-day school week was a step in the right direction to attract. Now we have to focus on retention. Throughout the years, I have seen that we seem to be able to fill positions year to year, but they don't stay for many years. I believe that we need to try to figure out why these individuals are leaving.
My name is Beth Larson. I was originally in Erlenmeyer. I was born and raised in this area. My husband and I have been together since 8th grade. We're in the same class. Went to college, came back. I'm a nurse at the hospital in Atlantic. We own our own construction business, and we have rental houses in surrounding communities. I have 3 kids, Brody, Piper, and Liam, and we're in odds this year, so they're in 5th, 3rd, and 1st grade. I think in order to attract teachers, it's gonna be the best to, and students, if we get a positive environment for our teachers, make sure they feel supported. How to do that, I don't know. Hopefully them feeling welcome to come and talk to us if they have any questions or concerns. And then we can talk about it as a school board and hopefully keep making it in the right direction. Also for students, I think if the teachers feel well supported and our curriculum has positive outcomes and grades, that more students are gonna be coming to our area. Also, I think sports are important for a lot of people. Introducing the youth sports to 3rd grade this year has been a great thing. Our kids really love it. They're learning so much more now that I didn't learn until I was in 7th grade. So everybody else has been doing it forever. So I think all of that is good. It makes their kids excited. I think that's it.
Hi, my name is Anna Schleimer. I have lived in the community since 2007. My husband and I have lived in this area. We have a 6th grader, Owen. I have been in the military for coming up on 25 years, and I will be retiring next year, which was my big push to now push myself into involvement within the community and to be more active enroll in the school board. So we live in Elkhorn, just outside of Elkhorn, between Elkhorn and Kimballton. I don't know what I want to do when I grow up, so if anybody has any ideas, as I retire into civilian life, I'm open. But this is gonna allow me a lot more time to be more involved in the community and in our school. So as in regards to the question, I think it's very important that we continue to recognize our teachers and our staff for their achievements, make them feel supported, and then also continue to get feedback both from current staff and from our outgoing staff. Find out why they're leaving. I think that's the pathway to figuring out how we retain. If you know why they're going out the door, you can help close that door. If you wait until there's issues, that's too late. So if you help them feel supported while they're here, it's gonna encourage them to wanna stay, and I think that's a big part of what we can do, not only as a community, but also as board members.
I am an almost lifer of the Elkhorn and Kimmelton community. I am a graduate of Elkhorn Kimmelton High School. I moved away to Des Moines following high school for about 10 years, where I met my wife, and we moved back here in 2018, because I was so fond of such a smaller school and a smaller community to raise my kids. Speaking of kids, I've got 3 daughters, one in 7th grade, one in 8th grade, and one in 2nd grade. As far as the question goes, I think in order to attract and retain staff members, we need to promote our small and tight-knit communities. I am also going to piggyback with what Beth said too. Developing a collaborative environment between staff, school board, and community members to create alignment of goals, but it also increases communication and trust. That way staff and anybody can come to any board member with any issues or feelings that they have and know that they're heard.
All right, I am Abby Rasmussen. For those that don't know me, I grew up outside of Brayton. I attended the Exire schools for 12 years. I went on to a junior college, then went to Iowa State, graduated in community and public health. I ended up marrying Joe Rasmussen. He was also an Exire grad, and we moved back home in 2009. We were currently living in Lincoln. And we wanted to be able to raise our kids around family and those small town values was why we came back. I have been selling real estate for the last 14 years here. So sometimes I'm the first person that people, new families, when they're coming to this community, get to meet. And it's an exciting job to get to tell them all the good things that we have going on here. It is one of my favorite things to do. We have 6 kids. They are all very active in the district, 2nd grade to senior. So I definitely see and feel the importance of how important strong schools are to the heart of communities. I've always believed in showing up, getting things done. I have been president of our community club that I feel plays an active role in a good partnership with the school. I'm a 4-H leader. I've helped coach, volunteer with the church, so pretty active. In regards to that first question, I'm going to repeat. I had down a lot of what some of these guys had. I had positive environment. I think if you have a positive, welcoming environment, it's going to automatically help get, good candidates, keep them here, setting high standards for our staff and our students. And with the community aspect, we have to be welcoming in all of our communities, which I think we do a good job of, but there's always room for improvement. And then obviously, that competitive pay, those perks, I think the daycare, supporting that here in Elkhorn is good. And then, so far, like the 4-day school week, I think that's been a positive, but I'm waiting to see how that turns out.
I'm Deborah King, and let's see, we've lived here since 2004. I have 4 kids, one just graduated from here, and then my youngest is in 5th grade. So I have 7 more years of my kids being here. This is a 6-year term, so I thought it's perfect. Get involved and really give back to the community. I'm on the library board in Elkhorn, and that's been really awesome to get involved with the community there. And worked with some children's ministry at church, worked picking curriculums and kind of familiar with that kind of a thing. I know that's a big task to do, and that's part of something that we do with the school board as well. As far as keeping staff here, I would really love to see us, and I think we already do a pretty good job. I've been talking to different teachers and asking them, like, what is it like to work here? Do you like it here? And I think they all have agreed that it's a really good, positive work environment. I'd love to see us empowering our teachers to work in their strengths, to do what they love, what they're passionate about. Sometimes they teach one subject, but they also really love something else that they want to be involved in, and I think just really supporting them and encouraging them in what they're good at and what they love. So that when somebody's interviewing for a position, we can say, hey, this is a great place to grow as a person, to grow in this community. We are creative, we are reaching out, we're trying new things, and I love that about our community, and I think I'm excited to see how we're gonna grow through this 4-day week. We'll see how it goes. We're gonna be flexible and figure it out. And so whether I'm on the school board or not, I think my family really just wants to be involved in the community and help out and be a resource, so.
I feel like I'm good facing my back to everyone, so I'll turn around. My name is Emily Paulson, and I own and operate Brinco Farm between Elkhorn and Desire, where we grow vegetables. I am also on the Elkhorn Library Board, like Deborah, and I have 2 kids. They're in 1st and 3rd grade, and so they're going to be here for a while yet, so I'm pretty invested in the school, as well as believing that the schools are just an important part of the community, even for families that don't necessarily have kids or that their kids are graduated. I still think that the school has an impact on the community as a whole. And as far as attracting and retaining staff, I think the thing I would like to say is to be able to pay folks better, but I know that's not fully in our control. There's a limited amount that we can do in that regard. So then I think listening to staff and going out and asking, what can we do that will make the work environment better for you, and creating the most positive work environment we can have. And when we do find something good, like the 4-day school week, this works well, make sure that that information is out there to the places where we recruit staff from. Because if we don't talk about the good things that are happening, then people don't know that they should come to us. So, and then in regards to the 4-day week, personally, I'm a fan of it, and it seems to be going well. But I think that we're in a position where we can make decisions that, because things will pop up, here and there, like challenges or new concerns. So we can either make decisions that support the 4-day week and make this a success, or we can, make decisions that don't support it and make things fall apart. So I think that that's an ongoing thing, and rather than take the let's wait and see what happens sort of attitude, I like to take the attitude of let's work in a positive direction to make sure that this works.
Thank you for your
Double up.
Moving on to question 2, what are 2 or 3 strengths in which our district can be proud?
So something that I've noticed as my kids, so I did not go to Exeter EHK, I grew up in Atlantic and I went to the Atlantic schools, which is a little bit bigger school, but something that I've noticed is my kids have been in school is just the positive way that the students interact with each other, the way that the teachers and students interact, and then even just across all the grades. And even we come in for conferences or a school concert or something like that, and teachers that my kids don't even have will, greet them in the hallway and have positive interactions. And I just think that that's a really good environment for kids to be in, especially when they're communicating and interacting across the grades. That's something that really impressed me, I guess. And I think that type of development is good for our kids. And then I think just the ingenuity and the willingness of staff and community to think outside of the box to solve some of the challenges that face small schools. I think that that's a really good strength that we already have. So.
I have been interviewing people for this question because I just wanted to hear what everyone was, what do you see that is amazing about who we are And a lot of the staff has said, your kids are not just a number. We know all of their names, they know each other, they have relationships with their teachers. The teacher can look at the kid and know if they're having a good day or a bad day, or what they might need, and recommend something very specific for that kid as far as an IEP or something that they really need. And I think that's really important for the kids to be able to trust their teachers and get to know them, and that's just not something that you can get in a really big school. And so I think we need to really fight for our school and keep these small schools. We have challenges because we don't have a lot of the big opportunities, but we're also super creative, that we are willing to reach out and say, hey, what programs are there in this area? And there are a ton. And we've been able to reach out and say, okay, how do we do a job? Let's take the kids to a job fair. Let's take them on field trips to see what there is around here and take advantage of all of the opportunities around us. We don't have to do everything ourselves. We can use those other resources and teach our kids. If you don't know the answer, there's a place to find it. There's a resource out there, and because they know the kids, they're like, let's find it together. Let's find that thing that you're interested in and get you plugged in so that you can be trained in the thing that you really want to do. So I love that. I think that's one of the best things about our schools. Also just that the teachers get along really well and are starting to bond with each other and support each other and encourage each other. I've heard a lot of that too, and I think that's just really incredible to see. So yeah, there's good things, lots of good things.
To mimic them also, I had a family-like atmosphere. That is the number one thing that I would say, and it's why, again, we chose to raise our kids here, and we'll continue to do so. I also think for being a smaller school, that we're able to offer quite a few extracurricular activities, and I'm a huge proponent of that.
I'm in the same boat pretty much as these two gals. Prior to moving back to Elkhorn, my oldest started kindergarten in the Yankton School District. And in her kindergarten class, there was like 1,700 kids just throughout her class in multiple buildings throughout the city. So we have a great small student to staff ratio, which allows students to get more one-on-one time with those teachers, especially students that may have a higher educational need that might need more one-on-one time. And our kids are also able to be involved in more than one activity. They don't have to focus on one thing. They can play every single sport, but also be in 4-H, and they're also encouraged to do so.
So, again, a lot of the same themes. The community engagement and involvement and the community traditions are like none other. I grew up in a small community also, so that was something that really drew me and my husband to raise our family here as well. The very first Halloween that we took Owen trick-or-treating in Elkhorn, and I think he was, 2-3 years old, and there were older kids that were like, hey, Owen, and I was like, how do they know who he is? Like, he's not even in school yet. I couldn't believe it. The community aspect has just been unreal, and that's why I will continue to go here forever and ever. But the great part too is that we're able, with these small communities, these small towns, come together always as a district and support each other. I think that's probably one of our greatest strengths.
So I had my 3 things as dedicated teachers, a strong community, and individual attention to every student. All of our kids have had help before we even knew they needed it with math and reading because the teachers are paying attention and able to provide that to them. The community is very supportive of our schools and our students. And I would really hope to increase that involvement with, I know we don't have a newspaper anymore, and most things are shared on social media. I think it's important that we find a way to get, the elderly people or people who don't use electronics as much notified. I don't know what that solution is yet, but I hope that we can find something to keep everybody up to date. Even if they don't have students in the district, they really enjoy supporting and coming out to see what's going on, and I think we need to increase that involvement a little bit, because we have a pretty awesome community.
Again, I agree with everything that's been said. Overall, our connection with the community seems to continue to improve. COVID, I feel like hurt that a little bit, but the school has done a great job on working, getting that back on track. One thing that I wanted to speak on was our FFA program. It is very strong, and I believe that is huge in a rural community. I currently have a daughter that is an officer, and FFA has given her numerous opportunities that she may have otherwise not had.
One, we're all here as one school because of our school board. We started as two separate schools, we are now one. Because of our wonderful school board that has gotten us where we are today, the school board transitions to the staff, the teachers, all of you guys here. I've listened to all my kids come home and talk, oh, this person and that person, and how wonderful they are. You don't do that every day. When we were in school, I never went to my mom and said, hey, Mrs. Bayless, she was great. No, she wasn't. But it just radiates from my kids and how, and like all these guys have said, it's just this culture, and that's the word, it's culture we have. It's our teachers, it's our parents, it's our students. We are Spartans together as one. The Spartans were an army, we are two. That's the 2 to 3 things that we have, is our school board, our teachers, and our community, our parents, all that. Football, I mean, Friday nights, it's packed. I mean, if we didn't care about our school, we wouldn't be there. All of our sports, volleyball, it transcends into everything. Our community and our culture is one. Those are our strengths of our school. And I think that anybody that would want to come here would find that out and want to stay here.
Thank you for your answers. To save some time, we're now going to go questions 3 through 7. Pick whichever question you think needs the most spoke on and give your answer on that question.
Could you just read what questions 3 through 7 are for the public? Thanks. It'll be done in a second, and then we can also just know what.
Question 3 is how will you ensure transparency and open communication among the board, school, staff, and the community? Question 4 is how can our districts ensure students are prepared for success in life after high school while providing equitable classes, educational opportunities for all students, including those with disabilities? Question 5 is what do you believe is the most important characteristic of a school board, effective school board members included? Number 6 is what is your vision for the district 5, 10, or multiple years in the future from now? And number 7 is what should our district be doing to address the challenges of declining enrollment?
I choose number 6, which is what is your vision for the district 5 or 10 years from now? As I get on if I were to get onto the board, I would like to sit under the learning tree and figure out how the machine works and what they do as the school board. Personally, 5 to 10 years from now, I would like us to still be Exira EHK. I don't want to be with any neighboring schools. I want us to stay and do what we do now. I don't know if I can control that or if we as a board can control that, but that's my vision and that's what I would like to see. However, it has to happen to keep our core and to keep our culture amongst us. I don't want to share it with anybody else. It's too special to share. The only people I want to share it with is anybody that wants to come in and be a part of us, not us be a part of anybody else.
I will pick number 3. How will you ensure transparency and open communication among the board, school, staff, and the community? So as I said, I've been the mayor of Brayton for several years. I believe that transparency and open communication are key in a small community. As many of you know, Brayton and Exire have been facing the current issue with regional rural water. We've been working together on grant funding and exploring all of our options to try and fix this problem. We have held open town hall style meetings and tried to keep the community informed to the best of our abilities. I just think communication is key, getting information from our communities to relay it back to the board and not only just community, but students as well, to make sure everyone feels heard.
I'm going to talk about question number 5. What do you believe is the most important characteristic of an effective school board member and school board? I think that teamwork as a whole group is going to be a priority. We have to be present in the community to know what we're making decisions based on. We need feedback from parents, teachers, and other school board members to see if what we implemented has been effective or what needs changed and how we can improve it. The community needs to know that they can come to us and see us out and about like we do now and continue that and see if we can help maintain a strong environment in the school.
I am going to cover question number 4, which is how can our district ensure students are prepared for success later in life after high school while providing equitable access to educational opportunities for all students, including those with disabilities. So I think by ensuring that our students have multiple avenues of approach after high school, whether that's towards a traditional 4-year degree, 2-year degree, trade schools, or even the military, or a pathway straight into the workforce. Every student should have a program that fits what their path needs, to include our students with IEPs. As a smaller district, that does become harder to achieve, but it's not impossible. It requires effort on both the parenting teams and the educational teams to achieve a plan that will set the student up for success. I think continuing to expand programs and offerings that are already in place and continuing to look at what the future workforce is going to be needing is going to be important. I can go down a pretty big rabbit hole on this one because we do, with what I do in the military, we work with recruiters and schools and shop programs to bring in like allied trades programs and the shop programs to find different programs that work, that'll set them up for success. To kind of show what an auto shop program at a school, like to those group of kids, what a military program would work for them. So I've seen success with those types of programs. So like I said, I can go down the whole rabbit hole, and how those tie into school settings. And I can tell you too, recruiters would usually bring in really great loot as far as t-shirts and water bottles too, so that never hurts. But overall, I would say, just as a team, because it's a team effort always, is building that plan, that's gonna work for each student individually, but also taking a look at, since we are a smaller school, that, there are avenues for everyone.
I will touch on what is my vision for the district 5 to 10 years from now. I have kind of the same mentality as Eric. I'm very proud of this district. Graduating from this district, I was taught a lot of life lessons growing up, and I want that for my kids, my grandkids, my great-grandkids, their friends, and everybody to be able to experience that same pride in the district that I now show as a parent. And I also want to ensure that our kids receive the best overall education that they can in order to reach their full potential and that they're prepared for life after school.
think I'm gonna go with number 5, which talks about the important characteristics of an effective school board member. I think number 1, you gotta be a good listener. You have to be open to hear all sides, whether that's from staff, teachers, admin, community members, parents, and students. I think we need to help empower those employees of the district and to help hold the administration accountable. I think you also have to have common sense. You have to be in the know. Those, I think, important things would be attending those school and community functions and getting out there, talking to those kids, teachers, and to the public. I think it's all, comes down to listening.
I love that. I think that we do need to be, as a group, I'd love to see each of us in the school, visiting, asking questions, and asking hard questions, and looking for long-term solutions. I would love to see in 5 to 10 years, I would love to see the kids that come out of here are hard workers, that they're creative in finding new ways to do things, that they reach out to their community, they know how to volunteer, they know how to get their hands dirty, they care about what's going on, that they're good citizens. And I would love to see some of them be entrepreneurs and say, I would love to move back here and start something that needs to happen in this area and get back to the community and figure out where is my place in the world, how can I get back, and how can I find a way to, if I don't know something, how do I find the answer to those things? I think hard work and creativity, even more than what you know, is being willing to find out. And I think that's also what we need to do as a board is what we're willing to find out, what do we need to do? What are the real issues? What are the long-term things?
I'll speak to the question about transparency and open communication, because I think that communication is the key to pretty much everything. You can have the greatest program in the world, and if nobody knows about it, then they're not gonna send their kids to it. And if we want, parents and students to be successful, I think that timely communication about all of the different things happening at the school is critical. And I think that we can utilize social media better, as well as email. And there is, the print communication is more limited now, but there is a monthly, I think it's monthly newsletter style thing that comes out from Blue. And I'm sure that they would be willing to, put up a ribbon for us when we have important things to say, and keep the community moving that way. So that is something that I would like to work on as a board and as a school.
Thank you. Moving on to our student-generated questions. We have 3, so each one of us is going to ask one. I will first ask, how can the school board help make sure students have access to nutritious and sufficient meals during the school day?
Okay, so food is my job. I raise vegetables, and so I'll ask you to dream with me a little bit here. As a vegetable farmer, I know that there are programs out there to assist with getting fresh local foods into our school lunches, and also for things like school gardens. There was a federal program for a few years that was really, really transformational. That program no longer exists. But the state of Iowa did pilot a similar program last year, and I hope that will be expanded. We haven't heard officially yet, but that's my hope. So I would encourage the school to look into that. And then there are other smaller programs out there too. And some of those things, like that funding for fruits and vegetables in schools will be implemented as soon as you get accepted for the grant. And then other things like putting in school gardens takes more time and commitment, but I think it's a great experience for students. Talk about a life skill, right? So in terms of, I have a couple of high schoolers that work for me actually, so I asked them their experiences with school
school lunch program. And the one was enthusiastic, he's like, actually, I really like what we had to do at school. And then the other one said, that there was plenty of food, but maybe it wasn't always that flavorful. So, different perspectives, but I'm assuming this question is on here because there are students that feel like they're not getting enough to eat, or they're not, that their meals aren't sticking with them. So, my thoughts on that would be that, I do think that our schools do a pretty good job. I'm usually pretty impressed with what my kids come home with. There's always fruits and vegetables on there, but in terms of like the high schoolers especially, I wonder if there's an opportunity to have healthy snacks, fruits and vegetables, and protein, nuts, cheeses, those types of things available in between throughout the day. I mean, it would be too hard to put out a basket with those types of things available. Just, obviously, that has to be paid for somehow. So, but again, there are grants out there, and I think they would work creatively on things like that. So, and then I know we have vending machines. We can look at those, and I know candy and pop and things like that are popular. They're comfortable, they're familiar, and I wouldn't say take all that out or anything, but is there other healthier things that we can swap in there that has fiber and protein that will give, those are the things that keep kids and adults full, right? And gives them the nutrients that they need to have a successful day at school. So are there some of those types of things that we can add in and make more accessible? I think that those are cool things, and I would actually be excited to work on things like that, so. I'm not sure exactly how, where the funding comes from, or how all of that works for the food program, or how much influence we have over that. I would love to see some more locally sourced foods showing up, and some partnerships that we could have with some local foods. I think it would be awesome to incorporate some nutritional classes, some of the cooking classes, and teaching kids about why it's important to be healthy, and then having them work on feeding their classmates. But you know, some of this stuff is I'm not sure how much we can do, and so it's just asking some questions. What are the options out there for us? I would like to see the concession stands be able to have, since that's like what we eat for months at a time as a family, some vegetables or something on that list, so that kids are not always just eating the fast food type items. But yeah, we'll see. There's lots of options.
Yes, so this one I also have written down, like, as the school board member, we're not here to micromanage those things. So I do think that that's more of an admin and school cooks, job, making sure that they're doing their job, I guess, is ours. But personally, yes, I think I'm a proponent of less processed foods. The more whole foods, homemade foods that the school can provide, I think would be a positive. And I was also gonna reiterate that I have had a dream of mine to increase some options at concession stands, just because if you're a student athlete, that's a lot of times you don't have time to run home and get a whole meal, and so just increasing some of those options, I think, for that tail end of the day would be good.
I know the food staff is working in limited guidelines that are set by the state for nutrition, so I'm not saying it's not impossible to get more fresh fruits and vegetables in here. We just have to do the research and see what grants, what programs like Emily said are out there to have this option for these kids, because as studies are showing, pre-processed foods are worse and worse for everybody as a whole. So if we can make a little switch more towards more fresh meat, fresh produce, if possible, let's do the research and see if it'll work.
I don't know if there's much more I can add. Besides, I would say just as a board, continuing to make sure that we're doing our due diligence to ensure policy updates and disseminating information about food programs to families is getting healthy.
My kids all enjoy the school lunches. Figuring out if your kid is one that doesn't feel full or get full. I mean, they're providing adequate nutrition, but I feel like parents can also provide a little extra supplement too. That's basically the only other thing that I had down that wasn't said already. They also did start the food pantry at the Exira School. There's some here in town too for after-school snacks or at home. I don't know for sure what we could do for their meals during school, but those are the other two things that I added.
So I think everything's been said pretty much. I think that the staff does a wonderful job already of what they are doing, so I mean, as long as we keep doing that and look for the potential for grants and stuff. I know there are some other programs, but again, that all takes money. If we could do the research and answer the questions and try to get some more fresh stuff would be wonderful, but it all has to be paid for some way, so that's the big kicker to it all.
Question like that, being on the end, that's a rough one. I'm not gonna claim to be any professional on that question at all. I would leave that in the capable hands of our staff. Like I said, outside of charcuterie boards and catering for the staff, I really have no information on that. Or cannot speak on any of that. Unless it's pizza for everyone.
What steps will you take as a board member to ensure that all students feel safe, respected, and protected from discrimination based on race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, religion, or gender identity?
That's a tough one in today's society. Everything is all over the place as far as all of that. The steps to take as a board member to ensure the students' safety is definitely education for one, not only for the staff and the students, it's the community. I feel like we can't really get a handle on that on its own. I mean, we preach, we talk, we educate. People are people, people are gonna be mean. And that is a tough one, but as far as ensuring everything that is listed, I guess you just gotta start in a place of education and go from there, have the right people in place that has the knowledge and the experience to teach on that and make sure that, everything is being done as the best that it can be. We're never gonna erase any of that, but I really hope, and I feel in our community, for the most part, that we're doing a good job of it. It's always a hard nut to crack, just because everything is everywhere. It's just hard to explain. I mean, as we know as just human beings that you can just never get a handle on things. When you think you do, it isn't. But I feel it starts with the education and the learning, the teaching. That's all we can do is just keep going and hope that it makes people better to where we can get away from all of that.
So my answer was, just put the students first. I will do my best to make sure that all students feel safe and represented in their given circumstances as those circumstances arise. I think each case of that would have to be handled differently, based on what was happening with them. Again, like Eric said, in this day and age, some of those questions and concerns are things that maybe the board wouldn't even handle. It might be more of a personal issue than a board issue. So I think we would have to look at each case as they were presented.
I think one good way that they're currently doing right now is everybody starts the day with the Pledge of Allegiance, united in one gym in both schools. I think that needs to continue, and then from there, the teachers provide a safe environment in their rooms. And individual students could have difficulties. They have programs set up for them. As a nurse, I know that we have some mental health options for people, but there's always room for growth. And one of the number one ways that I find is offering support to not only my kids, but also their friends when they come over, or if we're at a sporting event. Some people have hard times in getting to know each individual kid and what helps them, even while any of us are in the community will help all of the kids thrive individually.
I think it's really important that as a board, we're continuing to review policies that clearly prohibit discrimination and harassment. Education should always be the first line of defense. And then continuing to ensure that our staff is doing professional developments that encourage, continuing to I just lost my train of thought, to develop their knowledge on the subjects, so that way, in the instance that those occurrences do happen, they are properly trained on how to adhere to the policies, and apply those interventions when needed. And then ensuring that both students and parents/guardians know the proper reporting procedures in the event that they do need to utilize them.
We are in an ever-changing society on a daily basis, and we have a more diversified student population than ever before. Everybody has different interests, opinions, especially thoughts, but at the end of the day, we're all humans. So if we can provide, as much resources as we can for these kids, I feel that's, their best interest. As a few before me said before too, it's going to be a continual conversation. It may not be a board review, or we may not even be involved, but if we're a part of that conversation, maybe we can lend a little bit of guidance and help to those situations.
I think we need to make sure that all staff continue to follow those same values that we expect from our students, being taught, being safe, responsible, and most importantly, respectful. So I think the staff has to help hold each other accountable, as well as the students. If anything like that is ever happening, they have to stop it right then. I also put down that I think we need to take each kid, at face value that day. Can't make any assumptions based on, yes, what they look like, any of those protected classes, but also to take it a step further, like, not make any assumptions based on who their siblings are, who their parents are, how they performed last year in class, like, treating each kid with a fresh start each day and being respectful.
I think this is a tricky one for all of us to think about, because it's so much individually, because we are a small school and we know each of our kids. It's a lot of it is an individual basis, but I think as the teachers and the staff can model and teach respect for individuals and for their differences, but also addressing the safety of the school as a whole and what is good for the student body. I think that it's important to have conversations around speaking respectfully to each other and learning how to respectfully disagree with someone. I think that's super important right now. That we teach the kids and model for the kids how to disagree with somebody and still treat them with respect, like a person. That it's okay that we disagree and that you have a different perspective and is still valuing you as a person. And there are hard calls that we will have to make, I'm sure, that have to do with the group as a whole. But I think that the teachers and the community would be good to be able to model some of those open conversations with, we're allowed to disagree, this is what we're doing for the safety of everybody, but just really respecting everybody and their individualities.
So I agree with what's already been said, but I would just add that from a perspective of a board, as policies come across, just making sure that we're looking at and making those decisions with the lens of inclusivity and equity, and that we're taking into account, different perspectives and different needs as we're making those, decisions. As policies, guide what goes on within the school, so. What do we have to say?
Thank you everybody for coming. It is 7:30, so if you guys have any closing remarks you'd like to say or anything specific that you guys really want to talk about, now would be that time. If not, you're all free to leave.
I'll just say thank you for being here and, looking forward to seeing what the next year's bring.
Go vote.
And get out there and vote, everybody, and you know, I think it's amazing that there's so many people willing to do this. I was like, yeah, I'll volunteer, I wanna help out, and I'm like, wow, this is great, there's so many people. So all of us have a place to volunteer and to help out in the school, no matter how that is, whether that's on the board or somewhere else. So, and I would encourage all of you guys to find a way that you can volunteer and get involved in our school because it's the lifeblood of our community. So thank you for coming out tonight.